Peace, mercy, and grace to the household of faith. All praises to our Father, our God, Yahweh, in the name of His only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai. All praises, glory, and honor to our God, the God of Israel, the God of the Hebrew Israelites, Yahweh, through the name of His only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai, and the Holy Spirit. This lesson is going to be covering Genesis chapter 11 and bringing out some interesting and some good points, linking that which was then to now, which is then, according to as it is written in the book of our forefather Solomon. That which is then is now. And we're going to go right into it. I pray this is an edifying lesson to any of the saints that may come across this video. Before I begin, I did some modifications to my chat GPT to give me straight, no nonsense, no fluff responses that actually challenge me and not agree with everything that I put in. So I put in there, I said, hey, tell me about Genesis chapter 11 and the Tower of Babel. And let's look at, I'm going to get the highlights and then we're going to read it and come back to it, because this is good. Genesis 11, the Tower of Babel. Number 1, the world was united, and that was the problem. I repeat, the world was united, and that was the problem. And doesn't the average person, oh, we should all be united. One people, we all bleed the same. I don't see race. We're all human, right? Which that's the spirit that the leaders are pushing. So as the scripture says, so as the king, so are the people. So your leaders, your kings, your heads are pushing this spirit. So of course you're going to be in it. But according to this overview, it's saying that was the problem, because the Most High basically decreed that there was a problem by bringing judgment, which was to confound it. Let's continue. Number 2, the tower wasn't just a tall building. We're going to go into that. Number 3, the real sin wasn't pride. It was rebellion disguised as progress. Come on, man. The real sin wasn't pride. It was rebellion disguised as progress. That's the same thing happening today. Rebellion described as or disguised as progress. Man. Verse 4, or number 4, God confused the language, but not out of pettiness. Number 5, the big takeaway, Babel is a warning about human systems. Number 6, Babel is the ancestor of every modern build the brand, dominate the space, be remembered culture. Now, before we unpack that, we can just go ahead and get these first 9 verses. All right, verse 1, it says, now the whole earth had one language and one speech. Right, the original language, if you don't know, is the Hebrew language. That is the first language. That is the language of the heavens. When Yahweh Shai spoke down to Paul, he spoke in the Hebrew language. And we're going to get that just to show. Acts chapter 9, I believe. All right, this is the chapter where Yahushua spoke to Paul, but it should be another one. Let me see. Hebrew. Yep, Acts 26, 22, 21. Let's get 22. And when they heard that he spake in the Hebrew tongue to them, no, that's 26. So Acts 26:14, and when we were fallen to the earth, I heard a voice speaking unto me and saying in the Hebrew tongue, Saul, Saul, why persecutest thou me? It is hard for thee to kick against the pricks. So this proves, verse 15 says, and I said, who art thou, Lord? And he said, I am Yahushua whom thou persecutest. So this proves that Yahushua spoke from the spirit world in the Hebrew tongue. All right, the Hebrew tongue. So that was the one speech. The original language was Hebrew. Verse 2 in Genesis 11. And it came to pass as they journeyed from the east that they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there. Then they said to one another, come, let us make bricks and bake them thoroughly. They had brick for stone, and they had asphalt for mortar. And they said, come, let us build ourselves a city and a tower whose top is in the heavens. Let us make a name for ourselves, lest we be scattered abroad over the face of the whole earth. And just what comes to mind, if you say, let's make a name of ourselves, they probably had motion. They had things, because through the spirit, the Most High probably sanctioned them to be in that spirit of building and doing things and establishing, just like he's doing with the devils today. You know, they have the world. They've been given the blessing, the fatness of the earth. And so what are they saying today? Let us make a name for ourselves. Let us surpass, the God of the heaven and earth. Right. Let us be the gods going forward. So verse 5, it says, but the Lord in all caps is Yahweh. It says, but Yahweh came down to see the city and the tower which the sons of men had built. And who were these sons of men? These were the heathen. All right, the heathen built this. Verse 6, and the Lord had said, indeed, the people are one, and they all have one language, and this is what they began to do. Now nothing that they propose to do will be withheld from them. Come, let us go down there and confuse their language, that they may not understand one another's speech. So this is the introduction of more languages. And then fast forward today, this is why you have a multitude of languages on the human earth, so that everyone can't speak the same language, because the Most High God has never been about everyone being on the same page. All right. The closest we're going to get to that is once the kingdom of heaven is established, then everyone is going to worship one God. All right. There's going to be order. Everyone's going to be on one page, one law being enforced throughout the earth, the law, statutes, and commandments. But there's a build up to that. And back then that wasn't the time, because when you look at the Tower of Babel, this was being built with Nimrod. This was being built by Nimrod at that time, all right, which was a descendant of Ham after the flood. So this is the first conspiracy, the first account of the major conspiracy by the heathens. So Genesis 11 and verse 8, it says, so the Lord scattered them abroad from there over the face of all the earth, and they ceased building the city. Therefore, its name is called Babel, because that the Lord confused the language of all the earth, and from there the Lord scattered them abroad over the face of all the earth. Excuse me. Then ironically, it goes into the descendants of Shem, because that's the lineage that God chosen. With Shem means name. Name is reputation. His name, his reputation, his spirit, his likeness, his ways would continue through Shem's lineage, who was the son of Noah. Okay, so going back to these points. Number one, the world was united, and that was the problem. Everyone spoke one language, lived in the same region, and moved as one culture. Unity itself wasn't the issue. It's what they used that unity for. They said, let us make a name for ourselves. Translation, they weren't building for God. They were building for purpose. They were building for ego, legacy. Oh, it says they weren't building for purpose. They were building for ego, legacy, and self-exaltation. Yep, because it said, let us make a name for ourselves. So they were building for themselves. It is the first recorded case of a society trying to centralize power and identity without God. And what did he do? He confused it to throw it down because he wasn't with it. Verse 2, or number 2. The tower wasn't just a tall building. A tower with its top in the heavens wasn't them literally trying to reach God physically. It's ancient language, meaning they wanted to build a religious monument without God, create a center of control, establish a permanent name and culture that didn't depend on him. It's an early human empire building. Think Babylon, which fell, Egypt, which fell, Rome, which fell, all before they existed. This is the prototype. Number 3, the real sin wasn't pride, it was rebellion disguised as progress. Most people simplified to they were prideful, that surface level. The real issue is they refused God's original command, fill the earth. In Genesis 1:9, humanity is told to multiply and spread out. Instead, they said, let us not be scattered. Ooh, that's a good point. So instead of moving around and multiplying, they said, let us not be scattered. Let's stay here and be here. And basically, let us rebel. That's why you had Nimrod, who was at the forefront of that, who was, he was a Ethiopian Hamite, which his name, Nimrod, translates to rebellion in English. It says, so they were literally doing the opposite of God's instruction. This is the biblical pattern. Humanity doesn't rebel by attacking God. They rebel by avoiding his direction while convincing themselves they're building something meaningful. This is what's happening today. Man is altogether at best vanity. Let me see if I think that's a verse. Yeah, fire. Psalms 39:5. Behold, let me start at 4. Lord, make me to know mine end, and the measure of my days what it is, that I may know how frail I am. Behold, thou hast made my days as an handbreadth, and my age is nothing before thee. Verily, every man at his best state is altogether vanity, man. This is why anything outside of consciously serving the will of the Father through his only begotten Son is vanity. Oh, we're gonna build a center for boys and girls. We're gonna build this. We're gonna revolutionize change. We're gonna do this and do that. Man, the Lord is not dealing with Babylon. He's gonna destroy this place, man. He's gonna set up the children of Israel under the Messiah, under the King David, and in a perpetual, everlasting, righteous kingdom is going to be established. That's it. Anything else outside of that is vanity at best. Pursuing anything outside of that, degrees, families, businesses, all of that is vanity when it's all said and done. Anyway, continuing on, Genesis 11. Oh, we got that. Let's finish these points. Number 4, God confused the language, but not out of pettiness. It says God didn't destroy the tower because he felt threatened. He stopped it because a unified humanity without God becomes dangerous fast. They would have built an empire that enslaved people under the illusion of progress. Their unity was pointed toward corruption, not good. Fragmenting the language forced them back into the path he intended, spreading out. That's why you have so many languages, because people spread out. And then you have different dialects that come about from that. It says, these are good points. It says, this is the same pattern seen later. Egypt, Babylon, Assyria, Rome. All these are kingdoms of the Bible and real life, by the way. When humanity builds a centralized empire on ego, oppression eventually follows. The big takeaway, number 5, it says Babel is a warning about human systems. Here's the blunt truth. Babel is what humans build when they chase greatness without surrender. Any empire built solely on let me make a name for myself. Let us build something so big it can't be ignored. Let us become our own source of meaning eventually collapses because it's built on fear of being scattered, forgotten, or insignificant, not on truth. Man, brother, chat is spitting that fire right now. Number 6, final point. Babel is the ancestor of every modern build-a-brand, dominate space, be remembered culture. The deeper message hits modern people the same way. Your tower is anything you build to avoid obeying the hard thing you know you're supposed to be doing. God's move wasn't punishment, it was correction. Breaking down a fake purpose so people had to pursue a real one. I'm going to repeat that. God's move wasn't punishment, it was correction. Breaking down a fake purpose so people had to pursue a real one. If you want, so that's the point. So he broke it down to get people back, because he didn't destroy them people. He just nah, man. He did a light work judgment on that, man. He said, just go down there and confound the language. Now these motherfuckers can't even understand each other. Now they got to start moving around, right? He didn't say, angels, man, go down there and make a lightning bolt, just destroy everything they building, so they scatter. But yeah, that's a good point, man. So, and again, Genesis 11, the rest of the chapter goes into the lineage of Shem, which is the chosen lineage, which is who Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob descend from. And that's what it is, man. So I pray this was an edifying lesson. Giving all glory, praise, and honor once more to Yahweh Shem Yahushua Harakah Kodash.